Ever since I first heard, I have absolutely loved Cyber Ninjas, so this figure was an instant pre-order. However, I've got a few problems with it, so we are going to fix them by giving him a massive upgrade. And as a little bonus, we're also going to upgrade another figure in my collection with an extra weapon that he came with. So let's get started. So first of all, what is this figure? This is the Cyberpunk Samurai Taki from VToys. VToys made my favorite figure of 2025, the Hunter of Dragonfire right here, and they also have a really great base body out. And the big thing with these guys is that the figures have just crazy articulation. Like, so this is the body that is under both of those figures, and it is wild. Like, I love even just this guy. Like, he's fun to just pose around. Absolutely crazy. And even with the soft goods and everything on these guys, they lose very little of that motion. So let's look at this guy. So the design is very similar to Hunter of Dragonfire, just in a more like cyberpunk fashion. So we got the soft goods with the armored gauntlets and boots. And he's also got some chest armor, which looks very cool, like the general, and oh yeah, and also the shoulder armor. But yeah, in general, the design is very cool. It's like got that samurai look, but it's also very techy, and I like that a lot. And even the swords themselves kind of have that same look to them. Like the positives are that this is, you know, a really, really fun figure to pose around. He's got that really great VToys articulation, so it's pretty effortless to just get him into cool poses. So that aspect of him I like quite a bit. There are a few things though that I don't care for. So he comes with a few different mask options. There's this extremely cool one, but the way you attach it, it just does not stay on. There's these like, I don't know if I can even get this on camera, but there's these little tiny notches in these two kind of techie earpieces that he has. And you kind of have to slide the little tiny pegs in there, and it is nearly impossible to line up. And even if you do get it lined up, it doesn't seem to be like sculpted that well, so it just doesn't mold to his face and gets pushed off and just kind of likes to fall off. And that's such a shame because, like, damn, look at that, right? Like, that is super cool. I just wish it stayed on better. Like, even just the slightest nudge and it's off. But we also have some other mask options. So we also have these kind of cool, like, cyberpunk glasses, I guess. So let's put that on just to show it. Actually, it's easier to take the hair off. So yeah, like that goes on effortlessly. It's great. Put the hair back on. The hair is kind of weird to line up. There we go. So yeah, like that looks pretty cool. But the reason I don't want to use that is because his eyes are actually like blacklight reflective. So I don't have a blacklight, but I can kind of get that effect with one of my lights on the side here. There we go. Look at that. That is awesome. So love seeing the eyes, even though the face is kind of, it's like weirdly kind of long. But if we switch back to our regular lighting and put this mask on, then you cover up the kind of weird looking face and you can still see the eyes. So I think this is the mask I'm gonna go with. I think it's still pretty cool. I would have liked to make the other mask work, but maybe we can do something else with it. But yeah, here's our guy. So I do think he looks really cool. I really like this character design. This is like a totally original character. He's not based off of anything in particular. Oh, and another cool thing you can do is if you take one of the swords out of his hand here, their pommels come off. So let's set that down. Take this one off too. And we got a double pommel stuck together. So you can put that in there. And I'm sure you can see where this is going. Put that in there. And we've got an awesome double sword. Very cool. And like, you know, cyberpunk shenanigans, I'm sure you can imagine, like he just, you know, pushes these together and then they're stuck and ready to go. So like he can seamlessly switch fighting styles, which is awesome. Oh yeah, there's also this really cool red sword. I do like this a lot. A cool thing that you can do with it is that there's this extra piece where you can slide it in there and make like a glaive, which is pretty cool. But we are going to use this for another figure. So yeah, so far, very cool figure, kind of finicky masks. So what is there to dislike, right? Well, the part I really don't like about this figure is the way they handled the scabbards. Now, the actual scabbards themselves look extremely cool, but what they did for him to be able to like have them on him is we got these magnets here. You can see that they are attached to his belt, and they go on, and like, in theory, that's pretty cool. Stays on just fine. But like, in terms of practicality, I mean, like, look at this. The coat kind of awkwardly goes over it, and then it's like hanging down at his hip. Or if you wanted to like, I guess you could do them over the coat, but that doesn't make any sense, right? And then like, you can't do like a cool like jumping down from a high building, cape is falling down, because the scabbard would get knocked off. So like, I get what they're going for, and I love when figures use magnets, but I just don't think that works. And also, at least with mine, hopefully not too many other people experience this, but sometimes the magnets like to just fall out. So that is what I want to fix today. We are going to come up with a new way to attach his scabbards, and I am very excited about this. To explain what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at my very last Play Arts Kai figure. I've gotten rid of all my other ones because honestly I think they all just kind of got worse over time, but I will never get rid of Raiden because Metal Gear Rising is one of the greatest games ever made. Now, one of the really cool things about his character design in that game is this scabbard here. It is actually on like a robot arm, which is cool because that means it can either be a back sheath or a hip sheath. And you actually see that in his animations in game, like when you're running and you put the sword away, this will kind of shift up here and line up perfectly with the sword so he can put it away without having to like really think about it too much. And I think that is insanely cool. And it solves the classic like video game sword on your back issue. So I think that's really neat. And he also will often like, it'll go to his side like this so he can draw it kind of more samurai style. So yeah, this is like the coolest thing ever. What if we did that for this guy? Because if we can find a good placement for it, then it will not be in the way of his coat, and he could theoretically actually sheath these super long swords. So what I did for that was I looked around on Big Bad Toy Store for like accessories for model kits, and I found this. So this is basically like a customizable armature system that you can make. Looks like it's meant for some kind of mecha kit or something. But for our purposes, this is going to be a double version of that armature sheath that we just saw. So we got two arms here, and we are going to attach the scabbards to these. And then we are going to attach this whole rig to the figure. I'm thinking that kind of between the shoulder blades is the way to go. I think it'll give him a really cool silhouette when these are all folded up with the sheaths on them. And they also are long enough to reach down to his hip, like that. Or they can stay up here on his back. And like if we set them upright, we can cross the sheaths, and then he could reach back like this, and the sheath can kind of just like move and allow him to unsheath the swords. And I think that is going to be super cool. So yeah, that is my plan to fix my one major issue with this figure. So what I'm going to do is kind of check in here and there, show you kind of my process as I attach it to the figure, and then I will need to paint it and attach the scabbards to it, and then we will be good to go. All right, here we go. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is take everything off of the upper body so we can figure out where the best place to drill the hole into the torso should be. And then we will put everything back on and then cut some holes in the fabric. Here we go. So first, I know these forearms can just kind of slide off. So let's see how tricky that is. Okay, not so bad so far. There we go. We'll slide off the, or is this attached? Can't really tell there. That's fine. Let's get this one off. Oh, that was easier. Oh, interesting. Okay, so there is a peg that also holds on the pinless joint. All right, hopefully that's okay. Seems like it is. So let's get this off. Interesting look at the construction here. So here is when it just slid off of the peg versus here is the joint came off, but it looks like it'll snap back on just fine. You know, this might be an interesting look on its own without the coat and everything, but I did notice that the skin tone does not match. I don't think they expect you to take this off. Whoops. All right, so now we got to get the shirt and armor off. And it's interesting because they actually did a really good job here. The armor is attached with these straps that actually go through these little loops to kind of keep the armor in place. So I'm going to go ahead and go off camera to try and get that off. I've unbuckled the armor and I just wanted to show this shirt. It's pretty cool looking on its own. And it's actually attached with Velcro, so should be easy to get off once I get this belt out of the way. All right, shirt is off. There's some paint rub on the chest, which is fine. I don't plan to have that exposed. And yeah, the next thing I want to do is try to get this belt off, or at least get these magnet pieces off. Yeah, it looks like those are completely looped around, so I might have to cut them off. All right, with the belt, I just kind of gently peeled back here and detached the glue, so now I can get these ugly magnet loops off. Half of them, the magnets fell off anyway. Cool, and then I will just glue this back together when I put it back on him. So now we just need to determine exactly where we want to drill. I'm thinking like right here, right in the middle. It's good that I got the soft goods off so I can actually line it up and try to center that hole as much as humanly possible. I'm also going to see if I can pop the torso off so I can look inside and make sure I'm not destroying like any of the butterfly joint articulation or anything when I do it. That was surprisingly easy. So here is what we are working with. So we do have, yeah, we have this like kind of construction in here, but it looks like we have a pretty good amount of plastic that is protecting the articulation from anything. So I think we'll be good to just drill a little hole right in the middle here. All right, gonna start with the smallest drill bit that I have, just to be conservative. All right, there's our starter hole. Let's see how well the peg goes in here. Definitely too conservative. We can go a little bit bigger. I just don't want to go too big because then we're screwed. Okay, we've actually got a great fit. This is better than I expected. Like, it's really tight. Like, I thought I was gonna have to like glue it in. But yeah, this is really solid. It's like we basically just added a joint to this guy. So this is great. I thought this was going to be like the hardest part, but we're pretty much done. So what I'm going to do now is start putting his stuff back on. And as we put the cloth goods back on, I'll cut a slit that I can just kind of push this through. So yeah, I will do that now. So one problem I was trying to figure out was how to actually attach these to the robot arms. So like I could glue this, but this swivel point is really tight. So what I'm worried about is if I glue this on here, every time I try to move it, the glue is just going to snap. But what I realized is some of these belt pieces, the ones where the magnets didn't fall out, it's actually a pretty strong swivel point. So like this will stay exactly where you want it to be. So what I'm going to do is figure out the strongest way to attach this piece here to the robot arm. So what I'm going to try to do is cut off just enough of the plastic where this will kind of clip over this piece. So there will be some extra reinforcement. And I think that is going to work really well. So let's try it. Okay, so what I ended up doing was I got a smaller attachment piece here and I cut some off of it to make this as flush as possible. And then I used the pieces that were on the belt. I clipped the belt clip part off and just glued it on. So now we got 2 magnetic attachment points for our scabbards. And look at that. That is awesome. Look, This is so cool. So the next thing we need to do is get his coat back on and have this all just kind of go over on top. But like, damn, this is looking better than I expected it to. Damn, look at that. Oh, this is so cool. So there's still some tightening to do and some painting, of course, but this looks awesome. And nothing is in the way of his coat, so like, you know, I could move these out a little bit and the coat can just flay back. Oh, that's so cool. Look at him. Oh, that's so great. And yeah, everything stays really well. Like I have to glue this piece right here because like there's still a swivel point right here, but right here it's really loose. So we're just going to glue that on because we won't lose anything by doing that. And oh, I'm gonna be honest, I've been thinking about this custom for months. I'm so glad I'm finally getting to it. This is so freaking cool. And like there's a decent amount of range of motion on these, so we could like, let's pop that off for a second. You know, we can do them on the back too. So if we bring, this one's gonna be, whoop, this one's gonna be loose, but let's bring it back up and just try it. Oh yeah, that's right, I was gonna do this. There we go. So it's like that. And yeah, a little bit more tweaking needed, but look at that. Whoops. We're going to play around with the articulation some more once I paint these and get them a little bit more secure, but I just wanted to show this work in progress because it is looking so cool. I am so excited. Okay, design update. So this looks incredible. So what I did was I added 2 more small segments to these arms here. So now there's a lot more range and we can do cool poses like this. Like, oh, that's so cool. Like, you know, the arms can just position perfectly and allow him to unsheath the swords in pretty much any angle. All I need to do is just try out crossing them on the back. That's the part I'm struggling with to get it to look good. This looks pretty cool. I really like this a lot. This is a great like silhouette change with the swords coming up almost like wings or something. I like that a lot. And it's nice because like with the matching segments, they can kind of fold over each other really nicely and look pretty cool. So the only thing left to do now is to just paint this so it looks more like it's part of this figure. So that is what I'm going to do next. I think I also, once I'm all done, I might like use some double stick tape just to get this hood to stay in place because it loves to kind of just pop up and look bad. I'm actually really like not a huge fan of the hood on this figure in general. Like even if you take the hair off, there's no wire in the hood, so it's really hard to get it to look good. Like in theory, it could look awesome, but because there's no wire, it just kind of pops up. Man, that does look cool though, doesn't it? I wonder... Okay, forget the robot arms. This may be the coolest mod I've made on this figure. Are you ready? I don't think you're ready. Here we go. Watch this. Haha! Magnets. I put a magnet in the hood. And I also put a magnet back here. So that means we can pull the hood down. And it stays. And then pop the hair back on. Okay, like maybe like I hope that was cool. I think it's really cool. I'm very excited about this. This might be like the like this makes me feel very smart. So I had to share it. That is all. Now I'll stop distracting myself and actually paint this here. Bye. All right, here it is all painted, and I am so tempted to pose it around, but I am really trying to wait for the varnish to dry because I don't want to immediately start scraping paint off of it by moving it around. But I do think it's a pretty solid color scheme match to the swords. You know, I just painted it black and then did some reds and then did a little bit of a black wash on the reds to make them not so bright. And yeah, I think this is looking pretty cool. I gotta say though, like part of me wants to completely redo this, like buy another pack and like use spray paint and properly like prime it, because painting this myself, like there just ended up being lots of brush strokes I wasn't happy with. I even tried thinning the paint, but I don't know. I'm not super happy with the actual quality of this paint job, but I do like how it looks from a distance, so it should be okay. And just for fun, I also went through my extra Operation Monster Force parts and found a couple of handguns that also have black and red. So maybe this guy could also have some pistols stowed in his jacket or something. But yeah, once this is dry, and I will put it on him and we'll take a look at the final figure. So while we wait for that, let's decide what to do with this sword. So I thought about giving it to my smaller Raiden figure here, because he does borrow Jetstream Sam's sword at the end of the game, and he delivers that iconic little monologue with it, which was super cool.
I said my sword was a tool of justice, not used in anger, not used for vengeance. But now I'm not so sure. And besides, this isn't my sword.
It does look good. It doesn't look enough like the sword to me though, and I don't know, it's just not the same without its scabbard. Plus, I got an even better idea. Let's give it to Batman. Because, like many collectors, I was about to throw this guy up on eBay as soon as the much more accurate one was announced. I guess they decided to beat CT Mess Toys to the punch this time and just give everyone what they wanted as an official figure. But yeah, so then I'm looking at this, which always was cool, but kind of felt like a compromise if you wanted a truly accurate Batman Beyond. And I was thinking, what do I do with this now? Once I got that red sword, I was thinking, well, you know what? I do have a lot of like Batman variants in my collection, and maybe we could do Cyborg Ninja Batman. And honestly, just giving him the sword feels like it's enough. I mean, like if I take the wings off, like this is obviously it's a superposable figure. It's an amazing Yamaguchi, so you can get this guy into plenty of like really cool ninja poses. And then he can just go right into the modern ninja display that I've got going. And then I can just continue that trend of Batman just kind of showing up in several of my displays. I've got the Dark Knights of Steel Batman, the Caveman Batman, Gotham by Gaslight Batman's hanging out in my Bloodborne display. This could just be one more place where Batman is showing up. Or, maybe one day I could do like a Into the Batman verse, Into the Batverse or something display with all those guys in it. But yeah, I think this is super cool. I thought about trying to make a robot arm scabbard for him, but after what I went through with that one, I don't know if I want to do it again. And honestly, this kind of future nanotech-esque Batman, the batarangs just kind of come out of some hidden contraption on his wrist. So maybe this is just like a collapsible sword or something. But yeah, Cyborg Ninja Batman, an upgraded figure for this video. All right, here he is all put together. And yeah, I'm very happy overall with this custom. Or well, I guess it's more of a mod kit bash of a really cool figure on its own, but I think I really kind of took it to the next level and made it really my own, and I'm super happy with it. The only things that are kind of bugging me is that the pops of red on the arms are a bit more, they stand out a bit more than I expected them to. I was kind of hoping they would tie in with the reds on the armor, but it's just, I think these pops of color are just so much bigger that they kind of take over, but they do match the swords really well. Yeah, you're getting, there's paint rub on the joints and stuff that's just happening from handling, but honestly, that's the only real, kind of downer with this custom, and overall, I mean, it was definitely worth it. These robot arm sheaves are so friggin' cool. I love that they can move around, and he can, have them on his back instead. So you can, cross them. You can have kind of a combination where he's got one on his hip and one on his back. I really dig this look too. This kind of gives him kind of a a winged look. I really like this a lot. Like I could see him, situating him like this when he's running to kind of get them out of the way. I showed it earlier, but I'm just so happy with this hood mod. I love that, I painted the magnet black so it fits in and it holds the hood down, which is so cool. And then we can just pop the hair on and he can actually get the hooded or hair look super easily. And like I said before, I might actually like that better than the robot arm sheaves, but those are going to definitely lend themselves better to super cool poses that you're hopefully looking at right now. I also love the idea that maybe these could like stretch out and spin to like act as sort of like a bullet deflector or something. I think that'd be really cool. Like they have enough range to pretty much protect his whole body if needed, so he could like crouch down and just spin these and deflect bullets. I think that would be very cool. I think overall, I consider this custom to be a huge success, and he is going to be an excellent centerpiece for my kind of like modern Cyber Ninja display. So let's get him in there now. All right, here he is, all ready for the case. I love this. He's kind of unsheathing the swords from two different angles. I forgot to showcase it, but I love this like flicking the sword out with your thumb hand that he comes with. That's super cool. All right, let's get him in there. So naturally, he is going to be the centerpiece for my kind of modern cyborg ninja display that I've got going on here. This is utilizing the octopus flight stands from Iron Wing Collectibles. Highly recommend those. They're super cool for these kind of displays with a bunch of characters in the air. All right, let's get you in there. Tuck you in, don't bump into anybody. There we go. That looks pretty good. Adjust you slightly. Yeah. Nice. All right. That is it for this one. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.